Uh, the lock. It's hilarious. Oh my god, it's the playlist, Jim. Okay. Jeez, I didn't know that exists in other Arab countries. Okay. In fairness, let's go! This is fun, but not meta. What is fucking meta even? Okay, low browser. Let's see. I'll use this for now. But let's see. A legend.
You built a life for yourself here in New York, in fairness. But it could be so much more.
I'm gonna parry here.
Done, no?
I'll try body block.
And if I not die?
I see Mirage. Careful, Infinite.
gonna get weird or my...
Nothing's catching me. On the move.
I decrease. Thank you.
Got her.
Ja, met al.
So bullets now.
Ja, we're doing against because again carried. Carried, sorry, carried.
It's best at this.
Careful, trying to chop.
Mirage is here.
Set the spot.
Guard low. Nice.
They should have known better than to mess with me.
Let's take out Mirage.
That's one left.
Catch.
Little bit of it. You got souls to trade, right?
I see Shiv.
Mirage is there's the Sandman.
Oh,
Mirage is here.
Heavy ulting.
You're both low enough for a snipe.
Our yellow guardian has been destroyed.
Sand with your firefight, son.
Take the pop back. What the fuck? Oh, he's 3.
The Jin, yeah.
Rip.
I got one of those for the missus. Fix it.
I hope my team can capitalize on this.
Ah, motherfuckers.
I'm back on the next one.
Equipment tower.
I gotta keep that money rolling in.
They're trying to keep them.
Ready to ruin their days.
Hit you maybe. Left stand.
I don't have ult here.
Ah, great.
I can try and burn them.
yeah,
Go with
68.
Crow.
Yeah, yellow's isn't looking so hot. Are we about to get killed?
take
Very
out
low.
Mirage.
Mirage there, low.
I see haze.
He went away.
Took him out.
We
Let's
need
stick
to
to
help
camp.
yellow, I think.
Let's stick to camp first.
I've been perfecting this concoction for years. Try to keep up.
I see Ivy.
Stay 2 steps ahead of death, my friend.
Thank you.
You gonna help them?
I will die. Still weak.
He's not it.
Hayes died. Oh, my bad.
Our blue walker is under attack.
I'm assuming they're gonna rotate here now. Is the Slash lagging or is he just rage quitting? Holy fuck, these guys. These guys are getting demolished. Not so hot. What the fuck is he on?
They are gonna burn. I see haze.
This is the next one.
I see Chris. I see Ivy.
Try to help Lash. And yellow.
Bruh. Bro, that's like 9 fucking pauses already. What the fuck is this match?
How do you have 9.5 here? What the fuck?
Snipes.
Yeah.
I've been getting them low and he
I
just
said
snipes
it's
them.
9.4.
And Lash again.
Yeah, but Vindicta gets extra souls for snipes.
Yeah.
I see Jake.
Low.
Fortitude.
I see the enemy.
The old New York tuxedo.
Let's take out Krill.
Our blue walker is under attack.
One tower, one tower. Kill Ivy on tower. Inside the room.
Let me get.
Well played.
Get out. Oh shit. They're trying to take green now. I have 3 people in.
Yeah, green, guys. That's Infernus. Yamato, wake up.
Guys, like, I've survived long enough.
Morning, Yamato.
Yeah, but I can't help this.
Yeah, of course.
I can see shit.
This isn't going so. I don't have boost, I'm on my way though.
This is my bread and butter.
What coming to do?
I'm going for him.
What to me? Yellow, guys, yellow, your service is 0.
Let's push Greenwich.
A boon from your patron.
Headed to blue.
No one out. Napalm.
I see the enemy.
Nice job. They can't hide forever.
Okay.
Yellow.
I'll try to swap them into the group.
Falling back.
Thank you.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
I'm gonna come blue and help with haze. I have ult. Haze is under. She's in this.
Defend green.
I've been Mirage.
I don't think I can stop them here.
The urn is being delivered.
Let's take out Mirage. I see. Let's take out shit.
Turn them to ashes.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
Way to go.
Why am I alone here? I thought we were going for this.
The kill chief.
Fall back.
Oh, great. A foul. Swap's almost ready. Going to shop.
Blue walker is under attack.
Blue.
I see the enemy.
I'm on the best space.
Should move back, guys.
They won't be the last.
Go yellow.
Our blue walker is under attack.
Okay, now I should do more damage.
Careful. Careful.
He's got toxic bullets on him.
Jesus missing.
Nice try, buddy.
Keep fighting first. Our Green Guardian has been destroyed.
Let's try to take blue.
Yeah, let's push blue. I need slots.
My power is yours to lead.
Got something for you.
Mo's half. I can't help you right now, sorry.
I'm okay. Go here.
Someone order a cocktail?
One on shipping green.
I see Mirage.
And away.
Urn is being delivered.
Let's try to take blue.
Respect me.
Yeah, it's coming. Holy fuck.
I see the enemy. I see shit.
Is under attack.
Well played.
I'll set a fire like New York's never seen.
I need this.
Let me get low.
I won't lie. I don't know what that does, but my
We
kid
need this tornado.
Headed to yellow.
Oh, I have that. Okay.
I see Ivy.
You guys got him.
There, guys, I need it.
Someone teleport.
Thank you. I'll move them around the battlefield.
I'll push up for.
I below. We need blue.
I see crew.
Incinerated.
He tried to push blue. He got still low, I guess.
Go yellow.
Got lucky.
Our yellow walker has been defeated.
I literally can't do anything. I'm healing and coming back.
They gotta be here somewhere.
Careful. Behind us, guys. Please.
Our green walker is under attack.
Just missed them.
Need help on blue.
Low.
I need help on green. I'm just consistently having to deal with brand new health bars every 2 seconds. I'm gonna die here. I need help green now.
Let's action.
Rosh, can you help, please?
I'm dead. Like, I needed help like fucking 5 minutes ago. Why are you guys just... How are all of you... No, hold on. You guys are not on the way. You guys were on 2 lanes that both walkers died on. How?
I was on the way to you. Calm down, please. It's over now.
What the fuck, bro? How are you on both lanes and lost both the walkers?
Like, you made her fucking Lash leave.
Our Lash is a retard, and he has been a retard since the start. I don't know if you've noticed, their magician is 24k because of our Lash. G fucking G.
I'm feeling that's more of a rate. But
They're both on the same lane. And he was 0 and 4.
our rate was 0 and 8 until now.
Yeah, they're both shit. Good job.
The pros obey.
This is such a like retarded game. I'm not carrying with the best character in the game. I'm gonna kill it. Literally 5 people on these 2 lanes. Both walkers leave as I'm fighting off 3 people on this fucking lane. And they're like, calm down, dude. We only lost 2 walkers while you were fighting half the fucking team and we outnumbered them and we still lost both walkers. Calm down, dude. It's fucking. Oh my god. Fucking. You mean our Lash leave? Shut the fuck up. What a little bitch thing to say.
They got the rejuvenator.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
play
like you're
smart.
doing great, man. This is GG until I get better items. I need ricochet and shit.
The ivy.
The urn has been delivered.
Stay right there.
On the move. They took out Vindicta.
Ah, couldn't help him there. Reach, not really gonna do much. Why do I have extended mag? Max bullet resist? 1, 2. It's not worth it in this. Guess it helps with this guy. I need ricochet.
Cards out.
Oh my god. Why would you parry? Why would he ever go for a punch there? Oh god.
We only have one side left. We need to make a stand and stop them.
Throw a napalm.
Make a stand and stop them.
Thought you could make.
Oh fuck. Just how much did he do? Jesus, 900. Alright. Fuck extra regen.
Good times. Good job.
Fucking this Mirage and Haze are so happy. because they couldn't fucking do anything that match. They literally got fucking slapped. Fucking 15k his. They got slapped that match. And we had to lose because this fucking lane is a bunch of shitters. Oh well. That happens. How often enemy players are able to get away? Yeah, I mean that's the TTK. I don't think it's that long. Depends on what you're building. There's some, if you know what you're building, you can probably make the TTK for certain characters really fucking quick, especially if you're ahead in souls. Galinda, have you seen what I've been doing in Gay Baby Jail? I've been fucking rage baiting David about Mamdani. Just been calling Mamdani based and shit. Mamdani's so fucking... I don't even think he's a genuine danger to Jews, but seeing how fucking annoyed everybody is, especially Jews, about this, just because he's Muslim, they're like, can't have that.
The professor is here.
Oh, Loner's live. Loner, fucking finally. Based. I don't have a teammate. You have a poison that can kill them. They're low enough to die from your poison and you're not using it. But whenever I play against a fucking lizard, he abuses the shit out of this fucking ability. Annoying as fuck. And now I lost out on so many souls. Damn, not a single bit of damage is done by this guy. Fucking hell. Your poison can kill both now. You just have to use it. Good job. Fucking retard.
Might need to visit the curiosity shop.
I don't go selling these days, do I?
My mistake.
Use it on the low person, not the one with full health.
Go in the shop.
What, like, what do I say to this person?
I see
He
shit.
kills all the minions when I'm not here. You're also killing all the minions when I'm not here, so you're making me lose so much fucking souls. Good job, you're like, your ass. Okay, I'm leaving. This game is fucking shit. Fucking rushes in, dies to both. He's so fucking shit. Whatever.
Hope you win whatever fight you're about to start.
I see dynamo.
Yeah. Dude, what is he doing? What, like, why? This guy's just a fucking farmer.
They made their choice. Die.
I see Yamato.
Feel the fury of the Jinn.
Headed to blue.
Fighting me was a grievance.
I'm headed to Greenwich. I see shit.
Yamato doesn't give up easily.
I don't give a fuck about helping him.
Up until their death. I'll fight till my last breath.
Let's push yellow.
For me.
Our blue guardian has been destroyed.
Let's push York.
I don't give one single fuck. This guy is like the worst teammate I've ever seen so far.
Another item may prove useful. I'm always ready to support my allies.
Let's push York.
Up the ice. Thank you.
What level in your nature, guys?
Thank you.
Yamato's missing. Thanks.
I don't care.
Let's push Greenwich.
Was inevitable.
Our blue walker is under attack.
Burn it all. I'll be right back. Yamato's missing. And Furnace is missing.
I need to be wise about my purchase.
I literally couldn't give two shits about this team.
Now you want, I'll throw in a free keychain.
Impressive, Levi.
Is my life.
Yamato's missing.
I don't imagine this Rito is gonna do anything with that.
She's living up to his reputation.
Yamato's missing. I see Yamato.
I should open Loner's stream and watch. This match is pretty done for.
And Furnace is missing.
He's under attack.
Every
Oh,
outlet
it's
has
still the
breathlessly
preliminary one, okay.
reported on a preliminary assessment from DIA. I'm looking at it right now. Again, preliminary, day and a half after the actual strike. When it admits itself in writing that it requires weeks to make such an assessment.
This is true.
Guardian has been defeated.
Think about it, you're doing a preliminary assessment of wall under a mountain. So surely, I don't know if anyone thinks that these guys were able to get information of what happened underneath the mountain where there was a massive explosion. Within 24, 48 hours.
The boss has arrived.
But that's alright.
The patrons give freely.
Expect a preliminary report to show that
It points out that it's not been coordinated with the intelligence community at all. There's low confidence in this particular report. It says in the report there are gaps in the information. It says in the report multiple linchpin assumptions are what is
Waiting to be claimed.
Hey, let's push green.
The needed way.
Headed to York. Headed to yellow.
this assessment. A linchpin assumption, you know what that is?
Shall
I mean, your
take me
entire
where I
premise
need
is
to go?
predicated on a linchpin. If you're wrong, everything else is wrong. And yet, still, this report acknowledges it's likely severe damage. Yes, this is preliminary, but leaked because someone had an agenda to try to muddy the waters and make it look like this historic strike wasn't successful. I'm going to get to the chairman in a moment because he's going to lay out the particulars for you.
I asked for help ages ago. None of you fucking popped up then. Shut the fuck up and deal with it. I asked to swap from this retard who just kept killing all the minions when I was dead.
How about the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission? The devastating U.S. strikes on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility inoperable. Have any of these folks made their way to the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN? Any of these folks? How about this one? This is a new one from the UN, United Nations. No friend of the United States, or certainly Israel often. Here's the head of the UN Atomic Energy Agency this morning. Raphael Grossi. U.S. and Israeli strikes caused enormous damage to Iran's nuclear sites. Don't take my word for it. How about the IDF chief of staff? I can say here that the assessment is that we significantly damaged the nuclear program, setting it back.
Funny again that like everything he's saying about that preliminary report was read in the CNN article. Like CNN using the wild briefing.
Over here.
But if you're CNN, you have someone who wants to do why would you not say it? It's full of qualifiers, and you get all the official qualifiers.
Yeah, none of you gave a fuck, so I won't give a fuck.
5, isn't it? White point dictatorship somewhere. Oh shit. Wait, break. Jesus Christ. Whoa.
No one will be denied my aid.
No. Toxic bullets, Titanic man.
By years, I repeat, years.
Slow down.
The Iranian foreign minister, the spokesman. Our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure. I'm sure that's an understatement. John Radcliffe.
I haven't seen anyone play Talon in a long time.
CIA can
That is
confirm that
really
a body
bad
of
right now.
credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable, very different than preliminary assessment with low confidence. He's saying historically reliable and accurate source of net that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. CIA continues to collect additional reliably.
No, the UN hasn't given us how long it's going to go back, so I don't know if it's years. Or Israel. I think Israel said 1 years.
Wait.
Yamato's missing.
Source information to keep appropriate decision makers fully informed. How about DNI altogether? Right. Well, new intelligence Institute for Science and International Security President David Albright. Overall, Israel and U.S. attacks have effectively destroyed Iran's centrifuge enrichment programs. Time and time again, we go down the list. Those that understand, those that see, those that do proper assessment, recognize.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Looks like Yamato's really easy to kill once once you have appropriate amounts of souls.
Start running.
And again,
Should have stuck to grading Professor.
you, and I mean specifically you, the press. Specifically you, the press. Because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump. Because you want him not to be successful so bad. You have to cheer against the efficacy of the strike. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented him isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can. Try to cause doubt
Coming out.
and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots.
There's a soul jar here.
It's been written out how hard it is to, I don't know, fly a plane for 36 hours. Has MSNBC done that before? As Fox? Have we done this before? How hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times?
Excuse
Do
me.
American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? Or what it's like to man a Patriot battery? Or how hard it is to refuel midair? Giving the American people an
I have 5 seconds until I can teleport.
this mission really
Didn't
was.
the press even say
There
thank you
are
for
so
our hard
many
efforts?
aspects of what our
Don't you support the troops?
that because of the hatred they express for it, are under attack. Because you had people are trying to lead it that it wasn't successful. Folks in this room
I see Yamato.
are privy to that information. Proximity to Dynamo. It's important responsibility.
Lash can execute me too low.
Classified information leaked or peddled for political purposes. What's really happening is undermining the success of incredible B-2 pilots and incredible F-35 pilots, and incredible air defenders who accomplished their mission.
Fuck's sake.
Well played. How about we celebrate that? How about we talk about how special America is? We have
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently when you're in the press,
Let's
someone
see.
from the intelligence community, from within the
Satanic mag. Some
we've
good
got some
damage.
information about this strike.
Siphon bullets. Counter spell for Shiv.
Supposed to do that. That's bad. Yeah.
Counter spell for her. Counter spell for him. Counter spell for him. Yeah, no, counter spell is a good item here. We'll definitely do one.
Our green water is under attack.
We're used to that. But we also have an
After
opportunity
Ricochet, I'm gonna
to
get counter
and
spell for survival.
of what's really happening. And the reality is you want to call it destroyed, you want to call it defeated, you want to call it obliterated. This is an historically successful attack. We should celebrate it as Americans. It gives us a chance to have peace, a chance to have a deal, and obviously to prevent a nuclear Iran, which is something President Trump talked about for 20 years.
58. What could go wrong?
So with that, we'll hand it over to the General-in-Chief. They've done technical analysis on this, not just on the strike,
Commander, Team
but also on
Lonerbox.
our Patriot defenders on Al-Udeid. Mr. Colonel, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And good morning, all of you. Thank you for being here. As a follow-up to my comments on Sunday's press conference, I wanted to give you a few updates this morning on something I'm honored to do as the chairman, and that's a chance to get to talk about some of our officers and the incredible things that they do on behalf of our nation. And I apologize ahead of time for the length and the detail. Today I'm going to break down a couple of things. First, I'm going to talk about our air defenders car in their actions on Monday. Then I'm going to walk you through a little bit about
Yeah, you should definitely get the.
The JCPOA would have given Iran a stepping stone to standard NPT state.
First fire would be nice, but I think I want counterspell first. Counterspell would significantly help me against this, against his ult, against his one, against his ult and arrow. Against her dagger, maybe? But her dagger's hard to predict.
Indication that you can use that to betray that.
I need Ricochet badly.
The massive ordnance penetrator weapon, and we're going to show a video that highlights the effects that that weapon has. Of course, nobody was down inside the target, so we don't have video from the target. First on Monday, as the president has stated, on Monday morning we began to receive indications and warnings that Iran intended to attack the U.S. forces. That was on the work CENTCOM commander Eric had done, and on the orders of the president, at Al-Udeid Air Base in Qatar and around the region, we assumed a minimum force posture. Most boats had moved off the base to extend the security perimeter out from what we assess might be targets, except for a very few Army soldiers at Al-Udeid. At that point, only 2 Patriot batteries remained on base. Roughly 44 American soldiers responsible for defending the entire base, to include CENTCOM's forward headquarters in the Middle East, an entire air base, and all the U.S. forces there. The oldest soldier was a 28-year-old captain. The youngest was a 21-year-old private who'd been in the military for less than 2 years. So let's put ourselves out there for a second. Imagine you're that young first lieutenant, you're 25 or 26 years old, and you've been assigned as the tactical director inside the command and control element. You, at that age, are the sole person responsible to defend this base. Listening next to you is your early warning operator, whose job is to notify you of imminent attack. There's 5 people inside the vehicle and 5 people outside of the vehicle around them, a total of, as I said, 44. By the way, you've sat in the Middle East for years, deployed over and over again, extended multiple times, always being prepared, but unsure of when that particular day will come, that you must execute the mission and not fail at doing so. In this case, these Patriots were deployed in Korea and Japan as part of our U.S. forces.
How did he get his one again? Oh, wait. Is it a refresher?
In the CENTCOM area of responsibility.
I have no idea how he got his one again.
As the day continues, you start to hear more and more chatter in the information space about an impending attack. And as the sun starts to set in the west, you get orders from your higher headquarters to make sure that your missile batteries are pointed to the north. There are just a few other teammates.
Almost have Ricochet
and you expect
where I can
Outside
very
of those
much
Patriot vehicles, your hot crew, which is 1 NCO and 4 additional soldiers,
Spell Splinger?
relinquishes control of those missiles to that young lieutenant inside the vehicle, and you wait. You know that you're
What
gonna have
ability do you have that
2 minutes,
allows you to use Spell Slinger?
or fail. And then at approximately 12:30 p.m. on Monday, that's 7:30 p.m. in Qatar, as the sun sets in the west, Iran attacks. As the targets were detected, round after round of Patriot missiles were ejected from their canisters by an initial launch charge. Then the main solid rocket motor ignited.
And this guy, after he uses everything against me, he doesn't kill him, right? He doesn't get him.
It's fucking corpse despawn. That's so tricky. Fucking hell.
And round after round goes out and guides against those missiles coming inbound. We believe that this is the largest single Patriot engagement in U.S. military history, and we were joined in this engagement by the Qatari Patriots. I'm not going to tell you how many rounds we shot.
What is he? Oh my god, he's a soul-hungry little shithead.
We're aware that there's reports of something getting through. What we do know is there was a lot of metal between attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, boosters from attacking missiles being hit by Patriots, the Patriots themselves flying around, and then debris from those Patriots hitting the ground. There was a lot of metal flying around. And yet our U.S. air defenders had only seconds to make complex decisions with strategic impact. These awesome units, along with their Qatari brothers and sisters in arms, stood between a salvo of Iranian missiles and the safety of Al-Udeid. They are the unsung heroes of the 21st century United States Army. And I know a lot of you have seen the videos online and the excitement as those Patriots departed their launchers and went up and got it. This really demonstrates the combat capability and capacity of our Army air defenders. Simply stated, they absolutely crushed it. If you flip this over, thanks. Let me next to walk through.
This is the more competent guy, by the way.
The GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator weapon, and share a little bit about the planners who did this and their work on the weapon. First, let me set the stage for you. There's an organization in the U.S. called the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA. DTRA does a lot of things for our nation, but DTRA is the world's leading expert on deeply buried underground targets. In 2009, a Defense Threat Reduction Agency officer was brought into a vault at an undisclosed location and briefed on something going on in Iran. For security purposes, I'm not going to share his name. He was shown some photos and some highly classified intelligence of what looked like a major construction project in the mountains of Iran. He was tasked to study this facility, work with the intelligence community to understand it, and he was soon joined by an additional teammate.
I need siphon bullets to actually do anything.
This officer and his teammate lived and breathed this single part of discard material, the geology, construction materials, where the materials came from, looked at the vent shaft, the exhaust shaft, the electrical systems, the environmental resources, every nook, every crater, every piece of equipment going in, and every piece of equipment going out.
This.
a multi-layered underground bunker complex with vent centrifuges and other equipment in a mountain for any peaceful purpose. They weren't able to discuss this with their family, their wives, their kids, their friends, but they just kept finding it out. And along the way, they realized we did not have a weapon that could adequately strike and kill this target. So they began a journey to work with industry and other tacticians to develop the GU-57. They tested it over and over again, tried different options, tried more after that. They accomplished hundreds of test shots and dropped many
Give me fire rate
against extremely realistic targets for a single purpose: kill this target at the time and place of our nation's choosing. And then, on a day in 2075, 15 years after they started their life work in the United States ordered they used the force.
Give up, baby. No one's better than V.
And at this point in the game, I need debuff remover.
There he is separated. Good.
Debuff remover would be nice. Inhibitor would be insane. Focus lift? No, I need this. This first. This significantly increases my damage. Just fucking kill one.
That's so annoying. How long did that stop last?
And then
2 seconds?
I get rid of this. Oh, they upgraded it. It used to be 40.
I see great talent.
They only had one fight left. Tear the Ember Hand asunder.
Of the Jinn.
Don't earn it here.
I see great talent.
To go strike and kill this target. Yesterday, I had the incredible honor and privilege of spending time with these Defense Threat Reduction Agency officers who've given so much. One of them said, quote, "I can't even get my head around it. My heart is so filled with the pride of being a part of this community. I am so honored to you both. Thank you, and thank you to your families." Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those 15 years of incredible work. The air crews, the tank
Don't
crews,
earn
the
it
weapons crews, the built weapons, the load crews
Don't
that
earn it
loaded.
here.
Before I run through this video today, I want to talk a little bit about weaponeering and what goes into an attack. Weaponeering is the science of evaluating a target. I mentioned all of those factors before that these two Ditcher officers had thought about. Ultimately, weaponeering is determining the right weapon and fuse combination to achieve the desired effects and maximum destruction against a target. In the case of Bordeaux, the Ditcher team understood with a high degree of confidence the elements of the target required to kill its function, and the weapon was designed, planned, and delivered to ensure that they achieve the effects in the mission space. By the way, in the beginning of its development, we had so many PhDs working on the model, doing modeling and simulation.
Oh, no one's getting in our way.
Oh, can you hear? Never mind, just ignore the guy.
Took out another one.
So let me talk about the graphics.
No, you don't win team fights. Your team fights are being won because of me. Because of my freaking, because of the debuffs I'm applying on me. Let's see. What is it? Inhibitor next? Inhibitor would be a significant addition. Yeah, they're gonna wipe it on me. That's why you don't fucking just let me die. inhibitor.
On Bordeaux, in June of 2008,
I need burst fire
you
first.
see, these 3 holes. Depicted here is
Wait,
the
hold
main
on. This is
exhaust
damage,
shaft
right?
with 2 additional ventilation shafts on either side.
I already haven't
The
seen it, man.
United
So
States
bad.
decided to strike these 2 ventilation shafts.
This is only 20%.
As the primary point of
Your death is inevitable.
Get this for the damage. Where is it?
the attack in Bordeaux. The Iranians attempted to cover
Where's
the
one
shaft
sharpshooter?
with
Your death is
to
inevitable.
try to prevent an attack. I won't share the specific dimensions of the concrete cap, but you should know that we know what the dimensions of those concrete caps are. The planners had to account for this. They
Let me
accounted
go
for
get this
everything.
fucking gun buff.
The cap was forcibly removed by the first weapon, and the main shaft was uncovered.
It's fucking 31 fire.
3, 4,
Yeah, no.
5 were cast into
And then with
main
the
shaft. Moved
boss
down
buff,
into
it
the
would be
complex
insane.
At greater than 1,000
The
feet.
ultimate weakness of any kind of full fortress. The bloody shaft. There's always a shaft. Can't get around it.
Feet per second.
Time
and
for a
explode
change
in
of
the mission
environs.
space. Weapon number 6 was designed on each side, so there were 6 on each side. Weapons number 6 was designed as a flex weapon to allow us to cover if one of the preceding jets or one of the preceding weapons did not. The video I'm about to show is a culmination of over 15 years of development and testing. As I said, hundreds of tests on various models. This is one weapon. So take a view of this as 5
You'll get a terrible exhaust.
Hopefully you can see it. There's not too
Your
much
wife
noise on
will
the
want you.
Tom runs our videos out there. We'll run it at full speed so you can see
Give
it.
me
Go ahead, Tom.
burst fire.
We can't afford to be careless.
Keep it going for a minute. You'll see inside the mission space.
There's almost 200 as well or so.
Unlike a normal surface bomb, you won't
What
see
the
an
fuck is
impact
this
rate
guy doing?
because they're designed to deeply bury and then function. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. All 6 weapons at each vent at Bordeaux went exactly where they were intended to go. A bomb has 3 effects that cause damage: blast, fragmentation, and overpressure. In this case, the primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware. The majority of the
Power plant. That's a good one.
Deflected. A point that I want to make. Joint force does not need By design, we don't grade our own homework. The intelligence
We need to make a standing stop.
But here's what we know following the attack. I see Yamato. Loaded prophecy.
Inshallah.
2.
Where do you need me to go?
Sending beacon. 3. The weapons all guided to their intended target. 4. The weapons function.
Yeah, she used everything on me. You should be able to kill her.
Why would you fucking die?
And
We were visibly able to see.
why are you guys dying, bro? We just wiped your team. don't think we come back from this. I have inhibitor, but inhibitor's not gonna do that much. This would 60 fire rate? 60 fire rate for number 20. And 2 abilities I get way more. Barbaric burst. Barbaric burst.
One last story about
Need to make a stand.
when the crews went to work on Friday to kiss their loved ones goodbye, not knowing when or if they'd be home. Late on Saturday night, their families became aware of what was happening. And on Sunday, when they shared One commander told me this is
Don't let us get back stuff.
That, my friends, is what American does. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we test, we evaluate every single
Push up,
day.
man.
And when the call comes to deliver, we do so. I could not be more proud standing up here today of our joint force. I'm filled with gratitude that I get to tell their story. And as we stand here right now, our forces is right now on high state of readiness. And one last thing, our adversaries around the world should know that there are other indigenous out there setting targets for the same purpose, and will continue to. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that extensive work to lay down. I mean, even do you have that laser?
Yes, sir.
6 and 11, bro. You're what the fuck? 51k. What did you fucking losers do? Shut the fuck up. Good job, fucking idiot. 51k. You're 6 and 11.
When in actuality,
Seems slightly close.
Interesting the amount of assists he has.
first munition took the cap off.
You should see this Mirage. This Mirage did the second most damage, and this is bullshit damage, by the way. Fucking soul exchange. The health bar she steals counts as damage. So she steals like a health bar of 3,000 health, and it counts as 3,000 damage. Fucking dumbass character. They should fix that. They should count as a heal, not as death.
For a moment, for a day, or two, the opportunity to tell that story, because as the chairman said, these men and women that did this mission, they just want to do their job. They're not expecting their story to be told. They're not expecting the glory. They are grateful for the flags and the hugs of family. That's why they do the job. But they also know they were part of something historic. We know how historic it was. The chairman does. I know. Our staffs know. And so that's why we are... and the President of the United States knows. And that's why it's almost personal
One sec, need
when
to
you
get
see
my
the
drink.
way in which leaks are used to try to disparage the outcome or muddy the waters about the impact of what happened without being responsible with information and allowing the professionals
What would
to
the
assess,
responsible thing be?
provide
Just
that
like
information.
DM Trump and be like, is this
Thank you,
real?
Mr. Chairman, for that information. And we welcome a few additional questions. Yes, sir.
General, on Sunday you said final battle damage will take some time. And you also said, I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for you to comment on what may or may not still be there. That was just over 3 days ago. So what has changed? Would you use the term obliterated as well?
Sure, like I said, we don't do BDA. I'll refer that to the intelligence community. And
what changed in the past 2 days to make you so?
Sir, I think
I think I explained what changed. There was a great deal of irresponsible reporting based on leaks, preliminary information, and low confidence. Again, when someone leaks something, they do it with an agenda. And when you leak a portion of an intelligence assessment, but just a little portion, just the little portion that makes it seem like maybe the strike
so
wasn't
bad.
effective, then you start a news cycle. Whether it's the Washington Post, or Fox News, or CNN, or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the ethics of, no, that's why. So you bring the chairman here.
Yeah, he has no composure. He just sounds like a fucking, like, soying out. He sounds like a Twitch debate comic.
Not involved in politics. He didn't do politics. That's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He can use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect. So we all recognize there will be days and weeks ahead. That's why yesterday I said, if you want to know what's going on at Fordo, you better go there and get a big shovel. Because no one's under there right now. No one's under there able to assess, and everyone's using reflections of what they see. And that's why the Israelis, the Iranians, the IAEA, the UN, to a man and to a woman who recognize the capability of this weapon system are acknowledging how destructive it's been. So that's what's changed.
3 or 4 days later.
See, this is a point. This is how difficult it is to actually manage. You just watched a video of what this weapon is capable of. That's where we find our confidence, is in skilled men and women and the capability of the system to deploy, and the recognition so far in the reflections that it's a highly successful mission.
Sure, I think you could, I'd say go out, the IC should be able to help you answer that question. They look at a variety, as the Secretary has alluded to, we look at a variety of things. I don't do that, they do. All different sources of intel, which I'd refer you to them to get clarity on the
So again, I go back to the IC, whether it's Director Radcliffe or ODNI Gabbard. I read the statements at the beginning. They're the ones aggregating the intelligence, and they're saying nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over a number of years. Facilities were destroyed. What do you got right here?
So you cited a body of credible intelligence to suggest the damage at Fort Hill and other places. What is
What's
that
the delay? Like 3 seconds?
I was reading from
3
the
second
CIA
delay.
director's
4
statement,
or
which
5
came out
seconds.
last night. CIA, again, they do the BDA, they do the assessment. CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates, it also goes on to say, new intelligence from historically reliable and accurate sources and methods. Now, you can imagine.
Imagine about
how he articulates things of that sensitivity. Classified, secret, top secret, compartmentalized. He's going to know things that you're not going to know, that the press isn't going to know. And he's reflecting that the sources he's seeing are highly credible. They've given credible intelligence. They or those processes have given credible intelligence in the past. And that's what he's basing it on.
I think we need to see that.
Do you have a top secret clearance, sir?
Actually,
okay.
The American public.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What?
I wanted to ask briefly just.
Check it, sure.
Oh, the mic on the Washington.
Yes, sir.
Anybody who's ever read a battalion S2 report after a fight knows that it's usually, the initial report is usually wrong, sometimes grossly so. Is what happened in this incident cause y'all to sort of rethink the intelligence process or the dissemination, or do you think it's just a matter, I mean, if the process itself...
Do you have a security shield? Do you have a security clearance? Yeah, I'll tell you on my Snapchat. I see it all.
Doesn't require any more adjustment.
Well, I can tell you what the chairman told me in the Situation Room, and it reminded us all, which is alongside what
Can I
you
just
said,
have my
first-
chat as a pop-up?
First reports are almost always wrong. They're almost always incomplete, right? You anything, whether it's a squad level operation or a strategic level operation.
If I get these 2 levels in less than 12 hours, I'll have beaten the world record in like 2006 or whatever. Back when maybe some years ago, 4 days 20.
The initial reflections you get are coming at you at a high rate of speed from a lot of different sources. So your job is to step back and assess them. And that's why we're urging caution about premising entire stories on biased leaks to biased publications trying to make something look bad. How about we take a beat, recognize first the success of our
extreme caution, yeah, but Trump, yeah, exactly, yeah. There should be caution. Also, let's not have any challenge against. Yeah, does that mean is Pete Hegseth gonna fucking challenge Trump for saying completely obliterated them? Maybe he will. You know, maybe he'll.
All of us know.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna solid no.
Warriors, hold them up, tell their stories, celebrate that, wave an American flag, be proud of what we accomplished. And in the meantime, I can assure you, the chairman and his staff, the intelligence community, our staff and others are doing all the assessments necessary to make sure that mission was indeed successful. Yes, right there.
So, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Iran has recognized that their nuclear program was indeed severely damaged, but they also said that the U.S. strikes only strengthened their ability and their determination to complete their nuclear program. How do you respond to that, sir? Is that a provocation from Iran?
Well, I would say Iran's going to have to say a lot of things right now in order to bolster their image, especially internally. You know, in the media, there's a lot of things they'll say for domestic consumption. But we're watching very closely what they do. Again, that's the intel community. Our job, as the chairman laid it up so beautifully, our job is to be prepared. And how proud are you? How proud am I? I didn't know the full story of the men and women 15 years ago who've been pointing at that target. That makes me proud to be an American. That's an awesome story. I hope we can tell more aspects of that in an unclassified way in the future. That's a great thing to know. Our job is to be prepared when the commander-in-chief calls, based on those assessments. So of course our IC, the Intelligence Committee, will keep watching what Iran does and pay attention to that. But the president has created the contours and the opportunity for a deal, for peace. It's something that the world said was intractable, that wasn't possible. And we got that peace, that ceasefire, that option, because of strength. Because of his willingness to use American military might that no one else on the planet can do, with the kind of planners and operators that the chairman just laid out. Yes, sir. Right.
The president then, apparently this whole thing was, this whole procedure was authorized ahead of time by Obama.
Yep. Just a quick question. There's public imagery available saying that highly enriched uranium was moved out of Fordo before the strikes. Is that accurate? Have you seen that? And Mr. Chairman, a question for you. Have you been pressured to change your assessment or give a more rosy intelligence assessment to us by any political factors, whether it's the president or the secretary? And if you were, would you do that?
Yeah, well, that one's easy. No. No, I have not, and no, I would not. My job as the chairman is to offer a range of options to the president and the National Command Authority to deliver the risks associated with each of those, and then take the orders of the National Command Authority and go execute. I've never been pressured by the president or the secretary to do anything other than tell them exactly what I'm thinking, and that's exactly what I've done.
There's nothing that I've seen that suggests that we didn't hit exactly what we wanted to hit in those locations.
It's about highly enriched uranium. Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo mountain, or some of it, because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen trucks there 2 days in advance? Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium?
Look at him. When you ask
why am I not getting the match?
Question, me, when I'm asked a completely legitimate question,
there we go.
When I'm hungover and all I want to do is eat fucking cheesy pasta and watch Jerry Springer.
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally. What the president says.
That was not an answer to the question, but okay. Now allow me to tell you off now.
I'm familiar.
Furnace, with your help, your allies will
and in
know
fact,
the
I was the
glory.
first to describe the
Baby
bombers,
shark.
the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy.
Yeah, but
So
you didn't, excuse me, ma'am, but I'll be fine if you did not say that Trump obliterated the entire nuclear site and there was no issue whatsoever. Because Trump's fucking showed is far too.
Yeah, I use Celsius.
By anything.
40 Celsius. The hottest I've been in is like 51 Celsius, and now that was like unbearable.
Mission based on operational security that this department has done since you've been here, and I appreciate that. So we're looking at all aspects of intelligence and making sure we have a sense of what we're wearing.
The messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So what I say is, this is the kind of thing that Chairman mentioned, female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. I want more female bomber pilots. I hope the men and women of our country sign up to do such brave and audacious things. When you spin it as I say, our boys are bombers, it's just a common phrase. I'll keep saying things like that. Whether they're men or women, I'm very proud of that female pilot. But I'm very proud of the male pilot. And I don't care if it's a male or a female.
Help me here.
Well, race in general. In this department, it's changed priorities. We don't play your little game. Yeah, right there.
There has to be something I can buy.
Good.
So I'm not aware of
Hey, get fucked again.
everything. It says things were not where they were supposed to be.
Yeah, give me extra regen, rapid rounds.
Just off the top, because they were grateful for the service of these pilots and everybody that served. I wanted to ask you, the CIA statement said, when possible, they will provide updates and information to the public for transparency, and I believe that's what we're looking for here. Do you commit to share the Defense Intelligence Agency report when it is ready, so the American people can understand more about it?
Well, what actually the report discussed is very important. We also have a restructure. It comes to us to give us an assessment whether a target needs to be struck, right? That's the reason why. Based on internal feedback loop that we're supposed to have access to. Unfortunately, someone took advantage
Are they
of that.
both going gun? I'm gonna assume they're both going gun.
Public will be, but whatever has to stay centered.
So can I just jump in?
High 30s is the norm in the summer. It's usually like 28, 30 for like colder seasons. But when it gets hot, it's like at least 40.
So there's a balance, right? We do need to preserve options should the nation and the joint force be tasked to go do something again. So I'm confident we'll find the middle ground, but there are
Oh, he's like harder to aim with.
I want to not.
So we're going to leave it right there. I want to thank the heroism of our men and women in the military, what they accomplished. It's truly historic, setting back the Iranian untold number of years of devastating attack.
Trying to hook me.
Let's take out Hayes.
Someone order a cocktail? Let's go!
Good as hell. He's one hit. Both are one hit. Please do some damage, bro. Why am I doing all the damage?
My new best friend, Brad
If I proc my bleed all, he has fortitude. If you don't do damage to Bebop and kill him, he's gonna heal everything.
Directly every time it came up,
Which he will.
all the time.
Because you are a massive pussy.
Dude, sorry.
Fucking, I hate always getting the massive pussy lashes on my team, bro. Always.
No one fucking cares. Nobody believes that you're anti-Semitic because you don't like the pedophile haven child bombing ethno state 10,000 miles away. Nobody cares. You just shouldn't like Israel, like as a human morality-wise. By default, you shouldn't like Israel. It has nothing to do with Jewish people. The loudest and most obnoxious Zionists in this country are Christians.
There's so many elements here because on the one hand you have a 33-year-old democratic socialist, and it feels like this is an
I need help here, Lash.
Bernie Sanders
Don't want to be walking into an ambush.
wing of the Democratic Party. And she did support him. So absolutely. Is it going to have this?
Or not, Lash. Just fucking ignore me.
Say anything about
Fucking
our national
brain dead.
politics, and I think that's where we
Does
are
not
sitting here
fucking
talking
help.
about it. Is he going to become a lightning rod that Republicans nationally are going to?
Yeah,
say
and I
this is the
couldn't
Democratic
get
Party
out
and
because there's a
Republicans
fucking
use
guardian.
that in the midterms, and then on the
And he just held me there until his teammate came.
The Republicans,
Because he knows you're too much of a massive pussy to help.
real power around the fact that AOC won. They never have. They have insulted AOC, but if they didn't have AOC to insult, any other Democrat would have been their AOC. They lie all the time. They literally, you could run Lenin, and he would win, and it wouldn't change. He would get called a socialist just as much as the rest of them. He's called Schumer a Palestinian. He's called Kamala Harris and Biden communist. It literally doesn't matter. Stop buying into the propaganda, the fake bullshit. The idea that this is effective. AOC is more popular than almost any Republican official. Overwhelmingly so.
And I think there is a candidate quality issue. You have Eric Adams, extremely compromised, now running as an independent. Cuomo, very compromised over the sexual harassment problems. And this young, vibrant candidate who walked the plank of Manhattan and is
So just not compromise, basically, is the bar.
Well, it's not those two.
Let me bring Debbie for the last moment, because I remember.
Because essentially New York is the largest Jewish city in the world. Bigger than Jerusalem, bigger than Tel Aviv, more Jews in New York City than either of those cities, maybe even combined. So Mamdani does have but on the issue of Canada.
Fine. A lot of those Jews voted for Mamdani. It's Mamdani.
Wasn't the New York Times have a breakdown of this guy's?
Oh, I'm gonna lay him out.
Mandani's vote breakdown. We'll find out. Did it break down by Jew? Jew, non-Jew?
Let's push blue.
Baby.
This is why I died. That is so reckless. Where was the one? The breakdown?
I got hooked.
Good chart. Where the fuck is it? Most people not gonna climb it. Look at this, right?
We really don't need help. I just need a teammate.
It was here, right? There's a fucking scroll down article. Oh, here. Research by... Burning down!
Hunting season's over, down.
Lower income children. The white cultures have spoken. Get over it. Well, I guess I could look at Brooklyn on the map and see if it went more.
Got lucky.
That robot.
Brooklyn.
The spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Fucking nobody called an owl. Fuck it, just give me fortitude early. These items.
What problem? What problem? Quality. Yes. Very clearly, Andrew Cuomo had a lot of personal issues, but what was the reason for him, Bernard? What was his real campaign message? It seemed that the only reason he was a candidate was because he wanted back in.
Running out to destroy where establishment Democrats had backed.
Turn them to ashes.
Why do you think the establishment Democrats were backing Cuomo?
There's a reason they don't need a bouncer when I'm tending bar.
The only thing they seem to have is claiming Mamdani's anti-Semitic or implying it, which I find even more frustrating. At least the people outright claiming it, like, to make a statement, but the people who are like, Mamdani will have difficulty winning over the Jewish New Yorkers. Why? Tell me why. Is it because those Jewish New Yorkers are Islam?
Why wouldn't that NYC poll, surely if that was such a central part of the campaign, why wouldn't New York Times break down the Jewish vote, but they would give you the Hispanic,
Headed to
black?
Greenwich.
Thanks for the transition, Marty.
Can't wait that my fingers.
Well, if I don't die,
the man
it might be very soon. But anything could happen. There's still a few more hours of gameplay. Fuck. That's a lot to do.
In which case, they're the bad ones. What do you look? What? If you're being so fucking weaselly.
Conversation I've been saying for years. You're starting to hear more people say it.
Let's take out
Real talk that I predicted that Hillary Clinton was going to lose in 2016 and was the bad girl of the Democratic Party and the Debbie Downer, and unfortunately I was right. What I noticed about these two candidates, one was out, one was about. They were talking with people. They were using new forms of media. They were using podcasts, social media, and Governor Cuomo ran a very traditional consultant ad, used paid media, and you didn't see him out and about. So while I do think...
I don't know what the essential improvised charges are against Cuomo, or whether it's proven, or
Ben Greenwich.
I don't know anything about that, but wasn't even outside of that, wasn't he also... I think that was part of that.
Let's take out
Good. Whether they're like center or left, I don't really know to say about Cuomo. I don't know who actually likes Cuomo.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, they've been farming that jungle for like 5 minutes and nothing getting away.
To the New York City
for me?
if you're
But I
the
can
mayor,
second had it.
the mayor of New York City is like a big support part of the United States.
Let's take out guns.
Anyone have me on green? Free kills? Anyone have me on green?
Because I feel like I know Broadway.
I mean, I'm pushing this free.
I don't even know who the governor of New York
It might just take Walker. I think they're taking Walker.
Our green Walker is under attack.
I don't think they have the power there.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you guys actually just want some free money, just follow me around. I'm not even trying to kill anyone. It's been a solo farm, it's fine.
You know, all those issues were there, and he talked about them.
It's under, helping him. There's like you under.
We have a budget
What are you saying?
Keep throwing your lives away.
Because
I'll be ready.
It's not often of a particular city in a different country as a foreign. Cuomo is a fairly recognized
One thing I liked about Twitch is I could make the chat to pop out.
London there is kind of similar, right? Yeah, people know a lot about London there. Like Morris.
Let's action. I'm dead.
Candidates like this gaining traction around the country. I think that what we have to look at is how he campaigned and the issues that he talked about and his ability to meet with a lot of people.
Right,
and
he was
to
talking
be
about
out.
free buses, talking about
The problem, and this is something the Liberals need to internalize as well, is that Cuomo never could run Mamdani's campaign because Mamdani's campaign and Mamdani's energy is built on a belief that the world can be better, and Cuomo's campaign is and always would be built on the resignation to the point that it can't be. And that's it. There's no way around.
I hope that Yahoo shows up in New York. I think you don't, actually. If you're pro-Zoran, you probably don't want to get on the
Take out guys.
He's not going to do anything. He won't do anything. He might
Lady
try,
guys is here.
but...
I think
Hello? Where are you guys? You're just AFK, bro. Hello? There's like guys chasing me. I'm literally leading in doom. You're running away. Like what?
You can never, ever, ever. The closest the Democrats have ever come to capturing the energy with no substance was Obama, and Obama did very well. But that was Obama won his first election almost 20 years ago.
I'm sorry, did I come in to help you and you fucking leave? Next time I'm leaving, just flat out.
You could say hope and change and people would believe.
It wasn't you, it wasn't me.
But nowadays,
People have to
nowadays people ask you specific questions.
Great.
What is this?
I don't think people have...
Our yellow walker is under attack.
I'm just gonna farm.
You realize how much job because it's like no new wars, Trump. Isolationist Trump, even though they knew in 2016 Trump won, he was not an isolationist. And now they're all mad about him not being an isolationist again.
What do we go next? Yeah, I grabbed him, he's burning in his ult, and he literally is doing no damage, but we don't get him, that is crazy.
Our blue guardian has been defeated.
I know what the crazy far lefties won. I know what establishment ones are like.
Oh wait, he's fed the fuck. Great. I didn't realize.
Yeah, there's definitely like a lack of focus there.
He's one hit and he has ult. He's in here with ult and low.
I don't know why there's this binary between them. I guess that's what the POC is.
Well played.
Let's place one.
Oh my.
Thought it was so funny. Or like,
He took out 7!
I feel like he will. I'm still feeling he will.
3 people here.
I might quote myself on it.
I'm gonna ult and chase Mirage.
Nowadays, people ask, whether it's Medicare for all, or housing prices, or the checking another person barrage, or whatever else. You have specific answers to give. And what does Obama give to those questions nowadays in his post-presidential
Okay.
well, you see,
Life be
it's a shame.
different.
People, like, he's right. right about the way Obama.
Stolen Hex. I don't.
Even on Palestine, Obama was clearly preferable to someone like Trump because Obama.
What is he running? Siphon bullets and ricochet.
A lot of Obama's foreign policy seems to have been quite motivated by just coming.
I'm gonna get inhibitor. No, I need to rush. I need to rush. Not this. No, this would very helpful for the damage. It's only 4 stacks now? 4 stacks is kind of crazy. I need ricochet. Let's get.
Mitt Romney was talking about how serious the Russians were. He said in the 1980s foreign policy to get their ideas back. Very dismissive.
This will make the fires burn brighter.
Obama actually went so far as to, as a condition of starting the negotiation process, he called for a unilateral settlement.
No one outruns me.
Unilateral stopped any settlement plan, which was funny because it didn't sound like very uncontroversial. But Abbas had like Obama literally like he leapfrogged Abbas in terms of negotiation demands. So compared to even something like a move like that, Trump is
they got it.
pretty whack.
We have many opinions on these questions. Seriously, have you seen him? He always
just sit on these souls.
Let me be clear.
You get ricochet first?
Yeah. He doesn't have decisive answers to these questions because he's not a decisive thinker. He doesn't believe in it. He believes only in the fact that he's smarter than you. Which, statistically speaking, is probably true. He's a bright guy. But that didn't make him good. But it certainly didn't make him a good leader. That shit ain't working. And this, I'm sorry, it took me a while to find it, but like, yeah, time is up on the bullying progressives with the this illusory anti-Semitism of criticizing Israel, okay? Nobody...
But again, if you ask American Jews, they still...
He fucking likes Israel. For young Republicans, now half of them are favorable of Israel.
He's
For
fucking
Democrats, both young
counterplaying me.
know why the Republicans are feeling that way.
Counterplaying me here. He's actually, he's full counterplaying. What the fuck? He's a cunt. He's counterplaying to the max.
Range around 2/3. You're not. It's not. And every year,
This guy is like way too far.
It shifts in this direction. Israel will never be sympathetic to Americans because they are fundamentally unsympathetic. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to bend the knee?
Some people are going to try to play it up. He's communist. What he is he's talking. He's not about it. I'm trying to encourage it in my Democratic caucus. I want everyone to go to a meeting with the union worker.
Well, I do agree with that. CNN, keep it up.
State Assemblyman Zoran Mamdani won, delivering a major upset in the New York City mayoral primary last night. A contest that some are saying could forecast the...
When I checked the first time I checked the polls between Zoran and Cuomo had like a 10-point leadership.
Let's see. I'm gonna need. I mean, Heelbane would be nice.
Future of the broader Democratic Party. President Trump weighing in on Mamdani's expected victory just within the past hour, slamming him as a, quote, 100% communist lunatic and warning that, quote, Democrats have crossed the line. A self-described Democratic socialist, Mamdani poised to beat former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had been backed by prominent figures in the party's establishment after running on a platform that he says should serve as a model for the National Democratic Party. Mamdani's rise, though, was fueled by a massive presence on social media that clipped, in many cases, performances like this one.
I've never had to resign in this race. I have
never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records, and I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani.
Holy fuck. Sharp shoot. What? Oh no, I was looking up the wrong point. Holy fuck, yeah, there's GG.
Remember the part right after that where he cut himself off?
Oh yeah, the Yamak was AFK.
And you better get it right because I'm going to be your mayor. But then he decided that would be like a little bit too cute. So he was like, because it's important to get it right. You know what I mean? Like he was thinking like, how hard do I want to commit? You know?
David Axelrod.
That was a spanking right there.
I mean, candidates matter, I guess. What do you take away from
I
this?
think that exchange
8K, 9K. Bro, what the fuck was this team? 11K, 8K, 9K. How are you 9K? 5 kills with 9K. Are you fucking shitting me?
Mamdani fought those.
On Yamato.
No other candidate would have even come close to Cuomo's numbers. Yeah, he's a bad candidate. He's the Democratic establishment. You're all bad candidates.
Really big way, and it in some ways encapsulated the dynamic of this race, because Andrew Cuomo got into this race to try and come back from being forced out of the governorship, from being disgraced by what happened, and this was. But there was always this sense that he, wasn't all that interested, and when he attacked. It's a fair point to ask Mamdani about his experience, but he just opened himself up to that, and it reminded people that he was the past and that was time to move on. And I think that was part of the dynamic that governed this race.
What do you think this means, big picture? Like, how much should we be taking away from what we've seen here?
I think there are things we should take away and there are things that we shouldn't. I mean, winning a Democratic primary in New York is different than winning a primary somewhere else or an election somewhere else. But there are certain things that I think do travel. One is the issue of affordability is one that you can feel in every district.
If Mamdani didn't exist, do you think Cuomo would win, or would it be Lander, Blake, or someone? If Mamdani had not run, Lander would have won because the deep state wouldn't have tagged Cuomo in. The deep state understood that Mamdani was going to beat out Lander, but they thought Cuomo could beat him. If Cuomo had been tapped in and Mamdani just never ran in, like they just brought Cuomo in for the fun of it, he would have beaten anyone else. Anyone else, any other campaign. Name recognition and familiarity would have been it. Incumbency wins.
The article Voss was reading on Israel did mention the views of Jews, but he didn't mention it. Yeah, that's yeah, it's like everyone in America hates Israel, apart from, it seems like, evangelical and Jews. So why Jews? Why? Are they just retarded?
Overwhelmingly, in the absence of an incredibly well-organized campaign, which only Mamdani delivered. No hate to Lander. We love Lander. But Mamdani's in a league of his own.
In this country, and that
he was at least in that little blowout, he's a very good speaker, it seems. Seems like he did run a good, and I mean, like, the fact that people like me heard about him when I don't really have any interest in New York mayoral races suggests he was running a pretty strong campaign. Pretty juiced up.
This is what total air supremacy looks like. Here we've got Israeli F-15 fighter jets flying during daylight hours to strike targets inside of Iran. And when you look at their payload, or what they're carrying, it's just extra fuel tanks for added distance and guided bombs.
Good fucking hell, man. Look how decked this is. It's like Neo opening his coat up in the Matrix. It's a bit much.
No missiles. As in, these aircraft aren't worried at all about the Iranian Air Force or the Iranian surface air missile threat, which is a wild place to be at baseline, let alone 24 to 48 hours from the start of this conflict, at which point Israel achieved air superiority and air supremacy in parts of the country, which, as you can imagine,
we'll get some watermelon.
Iranian losses. So today we're going to get into the overall battle damage assessment of this 12-day conflict, not just the Iranian losses, but the damage inflicted inside of Israel as well. Now, this overall roll-up that I'm going off of was put together by Manny Fabian of the Times of Israel, their military reporter over there. Excellent resource, great follow. I'll link all of his work in the description below. Please go check him out. He says the Israeli Air Force carried out over 1,000 sorties, missions, during the fighting. With over 600 aerial refueling operations, thousands of munitions were dropped on hundreds of targets by Israeli Air Force fighter jets and drones. A couple keynotes there. First off, that is a lot of time for those platforms to be utilized. They no doubt needed a little more maintenance and repair now that the ceasefire is in effect. We also are probably going to hear more, maybe in the coming weeks, about Iraq and or Syria permitting Israel to use their airspace for these refueling operations. That has been kept quiet for now, but look, Israel's not conducting these refueling ops in...
I mean, honestly, it's a weird thing to say, but like America is the big dog, you know? Does Iraq and Syria even need to give permission? Does America even need to ask? Like, neither of these countries would have any incentive to try and interfere with an American fucking thing flying over their airspace. Do they just... Like, the way I picture this in my head is like there's just a silent agreement between all those parties and none of them have to say a single word.
Israel, maybe Western Iran, but nonetheless probably Iraq and Syria, which would be pretty notable here. He says the military has estimated some 2/3 of Iran's ballistic missile launchers, around 250, were destroyed in strikes, along with around 1,000 of the missiles. This leaves Iran with around 1,000 to 1,500 ballistic missiles and only around 100 or so launchers. So according to the Israeli estimate here, they essentially cut the Iranian missile stockpile in half, roughly, and more than half, cut the launcher numbers by more than half. So that's a significant degradation of the Iranian ballistic missile threat. They say the military said its airstrikes caused significant damage to Iran's Natanz and Isfahan nuclear enrichment facilities. The U.S. also struck the underground Fordo site with heavy bunker buster munitions. The back half of this video is going to be focused on some updates around the battle damage assessment there. It's still a complete headache to figure out what exactly happened, but we are going to cover it a little bit later in today's video. He says at least 15 top Iranian nuclear scientists who Israel said were working on a bomb were also eliminated in the strikes. He says during the opening strikes on Iran on June 13th, some 30 Iranian military senior leaders were killed. Others were eliminated over the following days. Also, hundreds of IRGC soldiers, including numerous members of the Basij internal security body, were killed in Israeli strikes. And the Israeli estimate here is that at least 610 Iranian civilians were killed, and they're basing that off of the Iranian health ministry. I've not seen at this point a number of wounded, but
would Israel have actually said, yes, we think we killed this many civilians? It's very unlikely. Okay, Israel's 10 civilians. The Iranian authorities, this is all just according to Iran. Yeah, I don't think Israel would say, yeah, we killed this many civilians according to Iran. That's a lot. That's quite a lot.
Apparently agreed upon by Iran and Israel at this point, 610 Iranian civilians were killed during the course of these operations. Now, when looking at the Iranian attacks, mostly ballistic or all ballistic missiles and drones, so Iran launched between 550 ballistic missiles and around 1,000 drones in Israel during the war. So when you break that out over 12 days, that's pretty significant, right? Talking about, what, 50 missiles, just under 50 missiles a day, and around, oh man, I'm risking doing math here, just under 100 drones per day. It says most of the missiles were intercepted by Israeli and American air defenses at interception rates of around 90%, similar to the rate in Iran's April and October attacks on Israel. And I think that generally fits. I think at times, some days, that number dipped down into the 80s from what we can tell, and just by assessing the damage that we see inside of Israel and the number of munitions fired versus the number of impacts reported, it looks like a couple more may have gotten through at times, but I don't think at any point it dipped below, say, 80-85% interception rate. He says at least 31 ballistic missile impacts were reported in populated areas or critical infrastructure sites. Dozens of other missiles struck open areas without causing significant damage. So 31 impacts in populated areas of ballistic missiles is no joke. That's a lot of damage. So when you see the videos and the pictures showing significant destruction in Israel, like, yeah, 31 ballistic missiles will do that. It says the vast majority of the 1,000 drones, which are slower moving but harder to track, failed to even make it to Israel's borders. Just one drone hit a populated area, a home in the northern town of Beit Shan, causing no injuries. Say that Iran at the beginning of the war is estimated to have some 2,500 ballistic missiles and many thousands of drones. So we do have a lot of footage coming out, not just, some showing the missile interceptions, of course, those are a little harder to catch on camera. A lot of the drone interceptions, again, to Manny's point here, slower moving, so they're easy to record. And we saw a lot of use by Israeli Apache helicopters, which has turned out to be a pretty effective means of defending against these drones. Low cost, and again, helicopters can go at the speed that's necessary to track these things. Make sure you're over, an area where you want these to fall is another consideration with these drones. You don't just want to intercept them anywhere and everywhere. You
Is this like a new thing? Is this a new thing that they're using helicopters to go after drones? I feel like I would just never have any confidence going into helicopters ever. Who was it that said there was just? Was it someone on stream? Was someone on stream or was it someone that I watched on TV?
Watermelon. Watermelon. Batuch.
There was something I heard about someone who's designed helicopters in the past now saying that they would just never get in one, even though they design it. But it was after the Iranian guy crashed. Yeah, what was that? The helicopter. Yeah, it was probably him.
Intercept the drone over a populated area and it falls with its explosive warhead and detonates in the city center. Okay, the actual target wasn't hit, but you still forced a munition to fall in a populated area. So a lot of times with these drones, the helicopter can be incredibly useful. Tracking them for, minutes, longer, half hour at times, to make sure that drone is over an area where once you intercept, not only will any missed munitions fired at the drone impact safely away from any population center, but also as the drone falls to the ground, it's not going to do any real damage. Now, a key note on the interceptions here, France, their embassy in Israel, just put out a note confirming that they actually participated in the defense of Israel here, which is news. They say French military forces...
Yeah, that is weird, because normally France is... Macron's been quite vocal against Israel, but I think when it came to Iran, even Macron was quite friendly towards them, wasn't he? Germany definitely was. Like, Merz was just fully on board with... Actually... There must have been, like Spain or the UK. Has anyone actually condemned the Israeli strikes in Iran, in Europe? Like any European prime minister or president? I don't think I've seen anything come up. But I haven't really, looked for it, because
did not participate in the attacks on Iran.
Ireland.
However, we are defending our bases in the region out of legitimate self-defense. Our ground-to-air defense systems and Rafale aircraft intercepted several Iranian drones that were en route to Israel and passed over our facilities.
En route.
That was not known before just a few hours ago. So, at least at this point, we know that Israel, France, and the United States participated in the shoot-down of some of these munitions. There was early rumors that Jordan and I think it was just Jordan, may have shot some down as well. I don't think we have confirmation on that. We also don't have any additional information about the U.S. interceptions. The opening salvos, we heard that U.S. forces were involved, but since then there's not really been anything except for the interceptions down at Qatar, which are of course fired directly at U.S. forces. Then in terms of Israeli military equipment losses, despite the incredible claims of multiple F-35s being shot down, there is no confirmed evidence of that at all. We do have evidence of at least 3 Hermes drones being shot down. There was another or 2 added in recent days. Those appear to have been friendly fire. So in total, I'm tracking 3 Israeli UAVs shot down by Iranian air defense during the course of the 12-day conflict. In terms of casualties, Israel says that Iran's ballistic missile attacks on Israel during the 12 days of war claimed the lives of 28 people, all but one of them civilians, and wounded over 3,000. It says the vast majority of the casualties were civilians, with the IDF reporting just 7 soldiers hurt in one missile impact in central Israel and an off-duty soldier killed in Beersheba. So that's the one non-civilian was...
Off-duty the same as a reservist. I remember it was when who brought up off-duty soldiers in it? There was that fucking disinformation tracker guy, wasn't there? It made me think of like off-duty as in what, like they've been fighting in the day and then they go home at night. I don't think that's what I don't think that's how it works for soldiers.
There'll be nothing but action when I'm through.
Maybe just like not engaged in combat. Unless I'm missing something?
He was in an apartment building. That was the very last strike, or to my knowledge, the last impact.
U.S. Artillery on service.
Side of Israel killed an off-duty soldier in Beersheba.
Oh, I'm sure that was a deliberate target they do. Like, this guy, we're gonna get this guy. This guy's bad news.
Now, Iran, for their part, as we mentioned in recent videos, continues to claim success and victory. There's a lot of aspects to this, no doubt. If we're exclusively looking at the survival of the regime, yes, Iran succeeded. If we're exclusively looking at the survival of some aspect of their nuclear program, I'd say that has yet to be determined, and more on that here in a minute. But when you look at the overall losses and casualties, it's hard.
I think if you're always on call as an off-duty soldier, that probably means you're still counted as targeted. Does that still count as engaged in hostilities? That's not the same as a reservist.
Press to look at this and say that Iran came out on top. Nonetheless, that is the message that the IRGC and Khamenei is putting out to the people of Iran. In a speech just earlier today celebrating that victory, he said, quote, "With all the commotion and all those flames, the Zionist regime was practically knocked out and crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic. My congratulations were dear Iran's victory over the U.S. regime. The U.S. entered the war directly because it felt like if it didn't, the Zionist regime would be completely destroyed. It entered the war in an effort to save that regime and achieve nothing. The Islamic regime, the Islamic Republic, delivered a heavy slap to the U.S.'s face. It attacked and inflicted damage on the Al Udeid air base, which is one of the key U.S. bases in the region. The fact that the Islamic Republic has access to key U.S. centers in the region and can take action whenever it deems necessary is a significant matter. Such an action can be repeated in future too should any aggression occur. The enemy will definitely pay a heavy price." He ends by saying, "The U.S. gained nothing from this intervention. Trump greatly exaggerated what happened, and our nuclear sites remain unaffected." So, you know, I'd say probably hyping up that attack on Qatar a little bit much. Yes, the missiles were launched. By all accounts, they were all intercepted. There's no indications of serious damage or casualties right now. So, you know, I don't know that I would say attacked and inflicted significant damage there. Nonetheless, this is how it is being presented inside of Iran. It is complete and total victory over the United States. In fact, the IRG and Israel. In fact, just a few moments ago, the IRGC issued a statement saying their two key priorities remain in place: the expulsion of the United States from the Middle East and the destruction of the Zionist for Israel. So, same language as always coming out of Iran, no question there. I mentioned the big question here is the effects on the Iranian nuclear program. And this one is really frustrating here in the United States that we're seeing this get so politicized, become so partisan, because my personal assessment is it's not. This is a national security question. We just need to know the answer. We just need to know the truth. And I'm not entirely certain that we're closer to that today than we were a couple days ago. So just sat through a 45-minute Pentagon press briefing. I'll give you the updates on that. But I want to back it up a little bit because we do have some additional assessments that have come out in recent days. Starting with Axios. This is reporting put together by Barak Ravid, quoting some Israeli officials that are chiming in on the battle damage assessment. They start by saying, and this is hands down the most important part, a professional battle damage assessment takes time. And I'm going to do my absolute best to sift through all of this in a nonpartisan way. I don't want the political stuff here to get in the way of this. So maybe I'm risking it with this statement. But the right thing for our president to have said when these strikes took place was that right there. Battle damage assessments take time.
Yeah,
we'll update you
obliterated. And then we'll slam CNN for not being careful with the facts. We're in the age of the Sigma Giga President.
I have a feeling that because the first statement is everything was obliterated, completely destroyed, 100% success, there's now a desire to meet that.
Now it makes anything less than that look like an Iranian win. Guaranteed. If it turns out to not be fully 100% obliterated, which, I mean, chances are it won't. then that means that Iran's going to claim it as a victory. Easy. Like, on top of what they already have. Because obviously, they don't really care about having the facts on their side. It's the way the Ayatollahs do. But if the facts are on their side, they will absolutely use it.
One hit. You want to go for him?
Nonetheless, Israel, good move there this time. They say Israeli intelligence services haven't arrived at any bottom lines for now, but we don't think there are any issues, and we have no indications the bunker buster bombs didn't work. Nobody here is disappointed. They added that they believe the Iranian government is still in the process of conducting their own battle damage assessment. In fact, they said, quote, the Iranians themselves don't even have a clear idea what happened to some of their facilities. They mentioned that through some intercepted communications, it sounded like some of the roll-ups being provided by military personnel were not being authentic, as in they were saying that a facility wasn't hit as the facility was completely destroyed and there was nothing left at that physical location. So it sounds like Iranian senior leadership, while in some statements are saying no issue, everything is just fine, there's early indications that they don't even have accurate roll-ups internally quite yet. So that's something to keep in mind. They said, quote, we doubt that these facilities can be activated anytime in the near future, and they added that they believe the Iranian highly enriched uranium at 60% is now buried beneath the rubble at Fordo. So,
knowing Putin watches little green men show up with no identification.
Yeah, that would be quite funny. We're waiting for it.
Burning a path. Well played.
They're gooning. Okay, how do I deal with these scouts? They said don't go near the graves. My target is near the graves. And these guys could be killed fairly easily. So if I don't go near the graves, how do I... Okay, let's get this incredible as he's separating from the pack.
So that's the most official Israeli assessment I think we've seen at this point. From what I can tell, those are still unnamed officials, but nonetheless, trying to keep up with all of the different aspects here. The IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, apparently their director, Grossi, in a radio interview, said, quote, or not quoting the interview because I haven't been able to find it, unfortunately, so I'm not sure if it was like on a one-off station, but it was quoted here by Jason Brodsky, the policy director at United Against Nuclear Iran, where he says centrifuges at Iran's Fordo nuclear facility are no longer operational due to physical damage from recent U.S. strikes. Rafael Grossi, head of the IAEA, said on Thursday in a radio interview. From what I can tell, I'm seeing folks today say the IAEA said that it's completely destroyed. I think that is the source of that statement. So I haven't seen an official notice put out by the IAEA. I think it's that interview, which again, I have a hard time getting my hands on looking for, and might just be my lack of ability to finding that at this point. I don't mean to suggest it doesn't exist. That interview, I believe, is the source of the IAEA. Then back here in the United States, a couple new assessments. DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, put out a statement yesterday saying, quote, new intelligence confirms what the president has stated numerous times. Iran's nuclear facilities have been destroyed. If the Iranians chose to rebuild, they would have to rebuild at all three facilities, Natanz, Fordo, Esfahan entirely. It could likely take years to do. The propaganda media
please shoot him, Vindicta.
Selectively released portions of illegally leaked classified intelligence assessments to try to undermine President Trump's decisive leadership and the brave servicemen and women who executed this mission. So that's
this Vindicta, bro.
DNI, so she oversees the entirety of the intelligence community here in the United States. So there's, I want to say, 17 different organizations inside of the intelligence community. She oversees
It's so much power in the hands of someone who doesn't live in reality. It's fucking crazy. In Intel, of all places. Did you meet Russian Jews in Israel? Yeah, a couple. I mean, you probably are talking to a lot of them without even knowing that you're talking to a Russian Jew, right? Because like there are quite a lot of Russians in Israel, right? Like people who descended from Russia.
Everything there. Getting a little more specific here, the director from the CIA, John Ratcliffe, said, quote, CIA can confirm that a body of credible intelligence indicates Iran's nuclear program has been severely damaged by the recent targeted strikes. This includes new intelligence from a historically reliable and accurate source method that several key Iranian nuclear facilities were destroyed and would have to be rebuilt over the course of years. Now, we are going to get into the DoD briefing here in a moment, but a question was asked about that because Secretary Hegseth cited the CIA statement, and one of the reporters in the room said, what changed? Like, can you share anything about that with us? You say that this is a historically reliable and accurate source, and the Secretary's comment was that that would require a top-secret clearance for the reporter to access that information. So no additional info there. Now, I did tune into the DoD press briefing earlier today, 7 a.m. Central Time, so bright and early. And the President said that this was taking place to defend the honor of the brave men and women that flew the B-2 bombers to carry out the strikes. Strangely, been a little bit of a shift where I've not seen people attacking pilots or the military members at all over this, but in some cases it's being framed as any skepticism as to the effects of the strike.
Oh god, it's the human shielding. If you attack Trump, you're actually attacking the troops, obviously. Classic neocon behavior. No new wars, Trump. This is a dangerous zone. I don't know why I'm here. Okay.
Are somehow questioning the patriotism or bravery of our service members. I haven't really seen that, but nonetheless, that's how this press briefing was presented. I did watch the entirety of it to include the question and answers. It ended up being about 30 minutes with about 10 minutes of Q&A. Overall, the first 10 minutes were really just kind of hammering the media on fake news. The next 10 minutes was talking about the soldiers that were involved in the operation, air defenders at Al Udeid. They say there were only 2 Patriot batteries there. 44 soldiers remained on the base. Everyone else was moved off site. They said the oldest there was a 28-year-old captain, which is awesome. Like, that's our military. Just young folks out there getting after it. They did mention that the strike against Qatar and the use of the Patriot missiles there was the largest Patriot engagement in history, with a lot of that information, they said, remains classified. Anyways, 10 minutes on the media, 10 minutes on our soldiers and the incredible work of our service members, and then 10 minutes or so on the research and development of the GBU-7, the bunker buster, escort, penetrator, and then the targeting process for them. There was not, unfortunately, from what I could tell, any part of this briefing focused on updating the battle damage assessment to back up some of these claims of, and Secretary Hegseth used a couple here. He went from decimated to destroyed. I think he's obliterated as well, which none are technically terms we've used in the military to describe the effectiveness of strikes. So it's a little bit of kind of just choose whatever you want there. But we didn't get into that a little bit during the Q&A. But some key points here, talking about the development of the GBU-57 program, it was really interesting. Talking about how this weapon system has been developed for 15 years exclusively for this target. Like, they had people studying Fordo for a decade plus, figuring out not just where these bombs needed to be dropped, but exactly the type of munition that needed to be utilized. And he went through, like, the shocking number of PhDs and how many, like, incredibly smart people. And I think he said over 100 test runs. Like, live tests of this munition were utilized. In fact, they do have a couple clips showing what this looks like, albeit not against Fordo, because we don't have any video footage from inside of Fordo, at least we don't, publicly, but showing what these bunker buster type bombs do, specifically the GBU-57. There's a lot of them.
I didn't heal. I didn't heal.
You
gotta get out.
Getting into the actual plan of the strike here that we're learning for the first time. First off, it looks like when you look at the overhead imagery now, we see 3 holes in the ground. And the initial assessment was that those were 3 different impact points for the bombs. Based off of this briefing from the DoD, what they're saying is that prior to the strike, those were ventilation shafts. And you can see some imagery here from the DoD saying they go down and kind of connect to There's one central shaft, 2 coming off the side.
It's not really, no. There's no way. It's like the video game thing, or like Donkey Kong. There's like a meme of Donkey Kong 64. A long time ago, when it was like
about time, bro.
There's this indestructible boss, but he's got a little hole in his fucking body that just says insert weapon strike here, and he just dies in one go. I think it's like a very classic like 90s video game thing, or 2000s video game. Just like, how do I defeat this guy? And he's just got like a huge box on him.
that might as well just have an arrow pointing to it saying, strike me here, please, and you will win. Yeah, the Death Star shaft, 100%. Zelda boss, yeah.
And in recent days or weeks, the Iranians covered this up with concrete blocks so the U.S. couldn't use it to strike through.
But then they struck the blocks.
Nonetheless, General Kane said during the course of this operation, the first GBU-57 was dropped to remove the concrete barrier. So it exposed those 3 shafts. Then bombs 2, 3, 4, and 5 entered that exact same hole. So it's one entrance point. It's the one right in the middle. And it went down down the shaft, penetrated the main shaft. He said the 6th weapon for each one of the target points was flexed to determine if the preceding weapons didn't work or there were not detonations from those munitions as they were dropped. It sounds like those weren't utilized, but then the total number of munitions doesn't add up to 14, so maybe they were. A little confused is that piece. Nonetheless, General Kane, some more details here. Says every one of the weapons hit and went exactly where they were intended to go. And I think that's supported based off the imagery. You can look at the one impact point, again, not 3, but 6 bombs, potentially. We'll say 5 bombs going through this one exact location. Wildly accurate. He was pressed on battle damage assessments, and again, I stand by what I said a few weeks ago. General Kane, incredibly professional. I really like this guy. Sticking with that, he's not speculating. I'm not seeing anything that even being slightly perceived as political, and I love that.
So is there just no way to design a ventilation shaft to make it resistant to bombing? I guess there's not, because they ultimately need to let air through, and if it's like air through, then obviously nothing else can get through.
This'll be a wrap.
We need fixed lane.
Headed to yellow. Let's go to York.
I will fix green.
Put a right angle in it. Does that make it okay though? Because there's still a hole, right? There's still a vulnerability.
From our military. But he said, hey, look, the Joint Force doesn't do battle damage assessments. We leave that to the intelligence community. I'm not entirely convinced on that. However, like, we always did battle damage assessments to 3 in the military. We can now go the entirety of it to the IC. So maybe there's just some coordinator design done within the military. But General Kane, when pushed on battle damage assessments, this is what he went. So there's 5 things I can say. 1,
General Kane, that's
the weapons were built, tested, and loaded properly. 2, all weapons were released on speed on range. 3, all weapons were guided to their intended endpoint and intended target. 4, all weapons functioned as designed. 5, trail pilots stated that this was the brightest explosion I've ever seen. Again, we kind of have to parse the words here. He was pressed on whether or not by a reporter, would you say that the site was obliterated? And he right out the gate said, we don't get into battle damage assessment. I'll have to refer that to the intelligence community. And Secretary Hegseth kind of came over the top to start battling, dueling, I guess, with the reporter. It's probably the best way to put it. General Kane is not using those terms. They're also not correct military terms. What General Kane is getting at here is what I think is important, and I don't know that was really being speculated against. At least on this channel, we've talked about how, by all accounts, everything the general says here was accurate, where the weapons were built correctly, they were tested correctly, they were designed for this use, they were loaded correctly, they were dropped in the right place, and from what we can tell from the overhead imagery, they impacted where they were supposed to impact. So that's the first part of the equation, which is important information, good to know. And again, I don't think I, at least, was not doubting any portions of that. The big question that remains still unanswered, beyond just statements that we've read through today, is once those munitions went down into the facility, what degree of damage was caused? Now, again, you're dropping 5. If, let's say, all 5 of those made it all the way down that shaft, you can expect some pretty significant damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we have much to go off of at this point, other than, quite frankly, officials saying it did its work. I don't know that we're going to get much more than that, so kind of brace yourself. Now, another big question here was around the enriched uranium, the location of it, something we talked about in recent videos. That was asked a couple different times of Secretary Hegseth, and kind of some mixed answers. I'm going to play both of them just for the full context. The first one was asked by Jennifer Griffin of Fox News, their Pentagon reporter, where she asked, what about this enriched uranium? That, for what it's worth...
Yeah, he got fucking salty about it. That's what he's, yeah. She was Fox? Jennifer was Fox and he's upset with her?
Take HP, bro.
The enriched uranium was 400 kilograms. So if there's multiple trucks, there's obviously other shit getting moved, but I don't know how easy it is to move a centrifuge out of a mountain. You know, when the civilian characters were around, they didn't release any military numbers. Yeah, I know.
But Gross, the head of the IAEA, also said, yes, we believe that the Iranians did move that enriched uranium. So I think it's an important question, something we should probably stay on top of. Anyways, this is the interaction with Fox News' Jennifer Griffin.
Highly enriched uranium. Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the mountain or some of it? Because there were satellite photos that showed more than a dozen sites there 2 days in advance. I think none of that highly enriched uranium was
But Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally.
Dumb bitch, Jennifer. Get him! Take a turn to shreds, Pete. This ungrateful Fox News lady. Okay. This unpatriotic, left-wing, socialist, communist Fox News. Pentagon correspondent. That's what she is, right?
The entire yellow with great attack. So I take issue. Who's with
And he's such a fucking gaslighting piece of shit as well. The fact that she's like I feel bad for her even though she's like a Fox News person. Like the fact that Pete's saying you're really bad and she's like, no, I've actually said this and this and this is good about the military, and then he's like, oh, I'm glad you're realizing that we're such a communist. Like, bro, can you not hold a train of thought? Like, what the fuck? Actual abuse tactics. I will weaponize
Successful. Based on operational security, this is what we've done since you've been here. I appreciate that.
I will fix you.
So unfortunately not a lot of answers on that, but it's a big enough question that another reporter did bring it up as well, saying, hey, come on, a lot of people want to know about this, and the secretary hit more on it here. We'll go ahead and play that.
Why is this item not good for him? Fire rate, spirit power, ability duration.
So I'm not aware of any intelligence that I've reviewed that says things were not where they were supposed to be, moved or otherwise.
Yes, the see no, hear no. I don't know anything about that. Let's get back to the thing I wanted to talk about.
A way better item.
Alright, so that's essentially where everything
Ability duration
right now. I'm sorry, I wish there was more concrete data coming one way or another. I feel like right now it's a lot of he said, she said, and it's quite frankly a matter of trust. Trust more than others, and I don't like that. I don't like that that's something that we're forced to rely on. So we'll keep pushing for questions, see if we can get even more,
You don't
more
like that?
details.
What, you don't like the troops?
So that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching.
Disrespecting the troops. Wow. You know they've got more of those mops, okay? Next one's got Preston Stewart's name on it. Huh. You want creator drama? What fucking creator drama is there, bro? What is there in the creator drama sphere right now? Sorry. I know that what Sean the Black getting sued. Like, okay. Wow.
will be honed.
What to think about the Iran war? Yes, tell me what you think. What is this Pax Americana? I don't know anything
Hi.
about this.
Hi. In this video, I want to talk about the 12-day war, the Iran war that just happened. What happened? Who won? Should we be happy about this, or sad, or is this a good thing or a bad thing? My name is Michael Shirkin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Pakistan. A conversation about world affairs, global conflict, military strategy, and anything else
maybe I should sue
on my mind. Now, part of the challenge of talking about this is that the really important information that we need to know in order to evaluate the outcome of this war is not...
How did I do this last time? What the fuck? There's 3 guys here. Do I take them all at once? Behind this little...
This is what I'm known for.
Shelf? What? There's a level 60 here. Hell no! Fuck that! They come under. Yeah, fuck that. Okay, I'm banishing. Jesus Christ. And now I can't banish. I have to jump up there. What the fuck do I do? Not quite sure what the game plan was here last time. But I'm waiting for Vanish, so... You know what, maybe I should just lock in. Fuck all this, when you have to lock in. Oh, do I just leave them? What if I just leave them? Can I go here and get in? But they're both level 60, and there's a control so... they stood on the ledge and used the pillars. Yeah, but I tried that there, and then all 3 of them came at me. And I've just fought them. And then I could, obviously, I could sap 1 and kill 2. Like I have the moves. But now I don't want to do anything because I've got my fucking Vanish off cooldown. So there's no escape. And I'm not jumping off there for safety. So I just go back up. Just work my way back up slowly. Skill issue.
Available to us, to any of us, really, because the information we need to know is going to be highly classified. The number of people who know for sure what the outcome of this war, given the nature of this war, is therefore very small. Now, one thing that this means is that the vast majority, no, I would say all of the people who are weighing in on the subject in the media right now, all the talking heads on television, all the people who are providing their hot takes on Twitter or Facebook, whatever, they're all full of it. They are all speculative. So what I'm going to try to do in this video is try to go beyond the speculation, also make very clear what we know and what we don't know. So I will be asking in this video more questions than I have answers to, which might be unsatisfying to you because maybe you would rather I provide you answers. But what I am going to do is I'm going to be honest and say, not only I don't know the answer, it's not that
Striders are melee, I think. If they are, then that fixes the wall. Yeah, they're the melee ones. Okay, so I just take one of those and move it to a ranger.
Particularly don't know all those other people on CNN know. No, they don't know either. It's just that they are pretending. I'm not going to pretend. Also, for the sake of transparency, I want to make very clear that when it comes to this subject, I am staunchly pro-Israel, staunchly pro-America, and very, very anti-Iran. I believe that Iran was legitimate. I think it should have been done a long time ago. Carter had bombed Iran back in the 1990s. The hostage crisis, Reagan had bombed Iran because of the hostage crisis. Because of the subsequent hostage crisis, going on by the main barracks, etc. I think we all would be in a safer place, a better place now than we are. Whatever, here we are today. Just because I have these prejudices does not stop me from thinking critically about how the war was conducted, what the war achieved, and whether or not at the end of the day the war was a good thing or not. Those, I think, are still fair questions. It just means that I would like there to be certain answers. I would like something to be true, but I think I'm working on that to be able to acknowledge when it's not true or when I simply do not know. I want something to be true, but honestly, I don't know if it's true. And maybe it's not true. Let's begin with the policy. What did the war...
You get claimed by the Guardian the day before yesterday. Yeah, which is funny because other people did as well. One of them was traveling Israel. And he made a whole video saying that the Guardian was censoring him, that was going to silence him with copyright.
Bruh,
because he's a critic.
Why is he so fucking fast? Why does he just slide like that?
Been sick of people reposting their shit and would have put an automated copyright remover. And that would have just flagged everything. He probably could have contested it with fair use though if he was just using clips, but that's what happened. I was gonna cover that actually. I might even just tell him. I'll be like, it's so annoying when people like they have to think like, okay, what's the most content I can make out of this completely benign situation? Oh, I'm being persecuted, like I'm being silenced by the Guardian. Like, fuck off, bro.
Slow.
You're just concluding.
40 seconds dead.
Israel's primary work is destroying Iran's nuclear program. I believe that Israel is flirting with the idea of regime change, but I do not see any evidence that Israel put in place any real plan for doing so, or if it did, it just began to go far down that path and then it stopped. So maybe
Spirit,
the last bit,
gun,
maybe
spirit,
more regime change.
Spirit, gun.
But again, so you can see the focus for was really airstrikes for the nuclear program overall, but then also targets associated with Iranian air defenses, that's basically missile arsenal, and in general the IRGC, which is Iran's, well, frankly, like their SS. What was Trump's objective? I think that's a little bit less clear.
Oh, yeah.
If we gave him the benefit of the doubt, then Trump was earnestly interested in destroying Iran's nuclear weapons program. It's something he's been saying for years, that this is something that should be happening. He's been saying that Iran should not be allowed to have a nuclear weapons program.
Maybe
which
even
I
made them more strict.
agree with. Doesn't necessarily mean he's sincere or that he was actually trying to do that in this instance. I have heard some cynical things that might also be true, but they're speculation. One take is that he just got involved because he wanted to get some credit.
How much?
Fox and
29
Friends or whatever.
and 50% max ammo.
He
Nice.
didn't like that everybody was saying all these great things about the Israeli airstrikes, so he wanted to get a piece of it. So that's how he got something for you. It's plausible. I'm not sure it's true, but I can't rule it out. Another argument that I heard was that what Trump did was that by getting involved in the war, this gave him the ability to shut the war down. In other words, his motive was more about shutting the war down than about getting involved. I don't think so, but it's possible. So, let's focus on this issue of destroying Iran's nuclear program. This leads to a series of questions that should be knowable because they're empirical. They can destroy the but I insist on this. The number of people who actually have the answers to these questions is going to be very small. I'm talking about people who are inside the Mossad and inside the United States Intelligence Service. Or maybe the U.S. and Israelis have shared this information with others.
And they'll die.
Give
me rabbit recharge.
Maybe. I don't know. So, what are these questions? Question number one. Can Iran's nuclear weapons program be destroyed? I have read some people, some of them informed, apparently well informed, saying that it can't be because the stuff is too deeply buried or too dispersed or this or that or the other thing. So that's one thing. Two, can Israel destroy Iran's nuclear program without U.S. help? Three, did Israel, with U.S. help, destroy Iran's nuclear program? If not, how badly did the two of them together manage to damage this nuclear weapons program? Now, I should probably add a fourth question to this, which is that can anybody know, will we ever know whether or not Israel and the United States had succeeded in destroying the program, or if not, how badly they had destroyed it?
Can I get one at a time here?
Now,
Will that happen?
I believe that the answer to the fourth question is
they're not linked.
yes.
Oh,
I
they're
think
not
this is
linked.
important. I think
So I
it's
just have
highly
to- if I can just
likely
pull them
that
back to
people
this
in the United
third
States
spot.
intelligence community, some people, and in the Mossad know the answers to these questions, but really nobody else. Why? Because this kind of information, to know whether you could and couldn't and whether you did, requires having large quantities of extraordinarily high quality and highly sensitive intelligence, the kind that you can only get through human spies, people on the ground, access to people on the ground, and the ability also to listen in on people on the ground and to intercept whatever they might be saying to each other or writing to each other or messaging to each other, that kind of thing. That kind of thing is highly, highly, highly sensitive. That kind of information is not shared. That's the kind of information that even if you are in the CIA or you are in the NSA, you're not going to have access to unless you're read into some sort of codename program because of your need to know. Nobody else is going to have access to this information. But I think that the information exists. And I think that, again, people in the USIC and in Mossad know the answers to these questions. The reason why I think this is the case is simply what we've seen in the previous few weeks of we've seen evidence in open sources of the extent
Why am
of
I
Israeli
tired already?
penetration of the Iranian government,
Just
the
12.
Iranian defense forces, and the Iranian intelligence services. I mean, some of what we've seen is astounding. So, as a result, I am inclined to think that, given the importance of this matter for Israel, that they do indeed have access to the kind of information that they need in order to know whether or not the bombing attacks have worked. Same thing for the United States. I'm convinced that as a result, we know. I'm making educated guesses here. I want to insist upon this. I don't know for a fact, but I do think that is highly likely. Given that this kind of information is going to be so sensitive and so compartmented, I want to stress there's only some people in these government agencies who are going to even know. The president will know. Netanyahu will know. The